Let's start off with a real eye-opener. I was in an Asian restaurant once and they had a Buddha statue with food offerings around it. I asked the person what would she do if the Buddha statue started eating the food. She said she would kick the Buddha and run, lol. So I said, well, what's the point if you know it's BS? You're just wasting food. She sat there gazing like she hadn't ever thought about it. I said food for thought and walked out, lol. Hey everyone, Noble Xenon here and welcome back to some more r/ThatHappened, where you will only find the truest stories. 100% legit, believe me. Let's get started. So, a Starbucks employee was talking about my cybertruck to a customer and she thought I couldn't hear her. I called corporate and she will be fired by the end of the day. I literally heard the employee talking shit about my cybertruck to a customer, saying it's ugly among other things. I had my window down and could very clearly hear the entire conversation the employee was having with the customer in front of me. Why do you care this much about my vehicle to express your hate to a customer? Then she literally asked me why I would buy a cybertruck. I said it's my 5th Tesla. I have solar, I don't have to buy gas. So you're rich. I said, how much do you think the Cybertruck cost? It's not even the most expensive Tesla. She had no clue, just an uneducated hater talking shit. Such a weird experience to have in a professional scenario. I wouldn't mind this conversation with a random Tesla hater, but an employee of Starbucks? Unacceptable. Not very professional at all. I assume this person is very miserable to be so judgmental of something that doesn't affect her life. I also feel kinda sorry for her. It's also kinda wild she's asking me if I'm rich as she serves $7 coffee to people all day. Oh, and by the way, did you know I owned a Cybertruck? 5 Teslas, in fact. As a matter of fact, I bow down to the shrine of Elon Musk every single day. Every morning just before I go to Starbucks, actually. And now, yes, because HR is following rejected applicants' social media, I applied for a job once. HR rejected me in 30 seconds flat. I felt terrible, but I posted about it on LinkedIn anyway because rejection shouldn't be a taboo, right? A few months later, the same HR called again. Hey, we'd like to talk with you. I was shocked. Why the sudden change? In my mind, I was expecting them to hire me. Why would you expect that after being rejected months prior? He said, your last rejection post got 1,000 likes. Imagine the reach if you tag us this time in the rejection email. Now, there are people who are saying this is an attempt at a joke, but it was terribly written. It's gonna leave people more confused than laughing. For this next one, it's true. I was that police officer, but the boots were thigh-high because I'm sexy like that. Michael says, I voted 100% Republican in the 2020 and 2024 elections in Connecticut. In 2020 was harassed by a poll worker who read my ballot and said, you voted wrong, change this. No, I said, and was immediately confronted by a police officer in literal jack boots, knee-high black boots. I grabbed the ballot out of the polling worker's hands and shoved it in the ballot box. I turned and left, sensing that ballot wasn't going to make it out of that room. In 2024, they allowed me to seal my ballot, but it had holes punched and was viewed, envelope sealed but with holes, and my name and information was recorded in a special computer program. Not all ballots were treated this way, just mine, because my vote is oh so special. No poll worker is gonna tell you to change your vote, because if they did, the police would be going after them, cause you know, you're not allowed to do that. This next one's titled, I found like 7 things wrong with this comment, and I know I don't have a high genius IQ. You see, you just don't have a high enough IQ to understand. All these errors are actually 1,000 IQ moves. I wouldn't worry about it. I have a high genius IQ. Like, I was so smart in grade school, doctors and scientists started running tests on me. I've always had friends older than me, and in 6th grade, my teacher told my mom he could put me in 12th grade and I would pass with my eye closed. Just one though. 2's too hard. That led me to getting a scholarship to one of the most expensive private schools in Michigan, where by mid-semester our professors were calling my parents into the school, cause he could not understand how I could understand the things I could. Offered promotion every year I was in school. I wouldn't worry too much about it. His intellect will eventually help him understand how to make it all work. Offered a promotion every year? I'm pretty sure that's how it's supposed to work if you're passing all your classes. This next one claims the gate area erupted in applause. Incredible. I was at the airport and someone in the gate area was non-stop for 15 minutes FaceTiming loudly, and someone walked over and said, "Please give Shirley my best." And the guy looked surprised and said, "Wait, what? You know Shirley?" And she answered, "No, but I feel like I do." The gate area erupted with the clapping emoji. Incredible stuff. So much clapping it was louder than all the planes in the airport combined. I can hear the clapping from here. For this next one, a local burger joint decided to name the burger I normally order after me. There's a burger joint in my place a block or two from my house. I get a burger from there once or twice a month, not that often, and I always order the same, cheese and tomatoes. As if there probably aren't other people also making that order regularly, probably even more often than you. The girl serving called me cute and she heard me ordering it and asked for the same thing, so the burger place added it to their special board called the Cute Butt Gur. What kind of name is that? I felt so cute blushing. Hey, if you're enjoying this video, then why not like, subscribe, and hit the little notification bell? This next dude must be living in some sort of fantasy land, cause he actually commented, "I literally used to bag chicks like this almost every single night in my 20s. I honestly do regret it, lol." And D-Moth says what he meant was he chopped up women like that and put their body parts in bags. Holy shit. For this next one, I guess I'm brainwashed. So, I was reading a Dr. Seuss book to my child about woolly mammoths recently. He stopped me while I was reading and said, "He is 6. This doesn't make any sense." I said, "What doesn't make any sense?" He says, "The woolly mammoth couldn't live in the Ice Age." I said, "What do you mean? Of course he could. He had all that fur." He says, "No, he didn't have any food. You just read that they had to eat 440 pounds of plants every day, and they traveled in huge herds. Wouldn't they be eating whole forests up?" But there weren't any forests in the Ice Age. There was no food for them to eat, so they couldn't have been alive in the Ice Age. So I said to him, And I even told him head exploding emoji and shocked emoji. It's interesting how children can point out the most obvious things that we adults are too brainwashed to see. What, did you think there were no plants whatsoever? Like the earth was completely covered in ice or something? We go to LinkedIn. We rescinded a job offer and still paid her 3-month salary. She never worked a day for us. But she'd already turned down other jobs and planned her life around our word, so we paid her, not because we had to, because it was the right thing to do. Leadership isn't just about tough calls, it's about owning the impact. If you break your word, you owe people more than an apology. Hashtag leadership, hashtag HR, hashtag hiring, hashtag big liar. Even if a company did pay 3-month salary to someone who's never worked there, there had to have been something going on here. There's no way a company's gonna do that out of the goodness of their heart. They are quite literally not a charity. For this next one, joke's on you, I don't even have $10 to lend out. Genius move if you win the lottery. A man in a small city won $16 million. The next day he was set for TV interviews, so he spent one day calling friends and family, urgently asking for $1,000 without explaining why. Most said no, probably because they don't have $1,000 to give. Perfect, they can't pretend to be his best friend when they saw the news. And the ones who did lend him the money, he paid them back tenfold. Those were the real friends worth keeping. I guess the moral of this story on Threads is if your friends don't have $1,000, they're not worth keeping around. Wouldn't exactly call that a good lesson to learn. For this next one, I was there. I'm the remote job. My company announced mandatory office days again, so I resigned mid-meeting. We are having a surprise all-hands today, and HR proudly announced that starting next month, everyone must come in 3 days a week to rebuild team spirit. I asked if they'd be covering commuting costs since gas and train prices doubled this year. The HR rep laughed and said, "That's part of being a team player." So I turned off my camera, opened my email, and sent my resignation letter right there. My manager pinged me 2 minutes later asking if I was serious. I said, "Dead serious. I already found a remote job that values my time." Best lunch break ever. And Livid employee says, "Wow, this person found a job within 2 minutes. Somebody call Guinness. They are speed running finding a job." To be fair, they could have had a job lined up before. They probably just quit, sent a resignation letter, but made the story a lot more dramatic than it actually was. For that sweet, sweet Reddit karma. Those updoots, man, they can be intoxicating. And now, it was actually $7.36. I'm in line to purchase a sandwich. Girl in front of me has the most beautiful hair. I ask her where she got it colored. She replies, "You can't afford it." The cashier and I makes these faces, including the woozy emoji for some reason. She gets her order and card declines for $7. I pay for my $13 sandwich and tell her, "At least I can afford this. I got you. Just tell me where." "OMG, I'm so sorry about earlier. It's at salon name and hairdresser." I give her thanks and then say, "Psych." The cashier walked away to laugh in the back. The dude behind clapped. Eat shit. There always has to be some kind of applause to validate these people's activities. Like, is it even an r/thathappened post without a round of applause? And now, that definitely happened. I was the male friend, the good one, of course. Dear girls, please stop playing with men's emotions. Yesternight, a rather interesting way of saying last night, was a girls' night out, and we all stayed later in my friend's house. We were all awake till 1 a.m. and were discussing different topics when I realized how most of my friends have a boyfriend and a male best friend. Now the twist is they all use their male best friends as their backup boyfriend. I know you all know this, so what's new? Well, as a girl myself, which I have reason to doubt, I know how girls literally use their male friends. Most of the boys who are actually good, I know they are good, gives their female friends same vibes of a boyfriend without committing to be their boyfriend. And girls absolutely love it because they are not entitled to have any responsibility in return. They get the same attention from their male friends as their boyfriend would have given them. Dear girls, please don't do this. Don't play with someone for your time pass. Grow up. This really does sound like it's a self-proclaimed nice guy pretending to be a girl, just trying desperately to get them to listen to him for once. This next one's simply titled Totally Dude. A guy was staring at me and started following me. I started running and so did he. While running, I looked back and shouted, "You see that too, right?" and pointed behind him. He looked back and I stopped and looked at him like that and just said, "She's gonna get you." Never seen a man run away so fast. Sobbing emoji. This next one is so brave, so quirky, and of course, so true. So when I was 16, I came out as lesbian to my family. Us and my friend were having pizza for dinner, and I just stood up, slice in hand, and said, "This pizza is for gay people," and took a big bite without breaking eye contact. Then, my friend stood up, took a big bite out of her slice, and kissed me on the lips. We weren't dating, but I secretly had a crush on her. Then, my 18-year-old brother stood up and took a big bite of his pizza and kissed my father on the lips for 3 seconds, and I could just see his cheeks go tomato red while Mom couldn't stop laughing. What? Eventually, she had to leave the room because she was choking on her drink a little. What in the Alabama is going on here? What compels you to write this? And now we've got another badass. I'm already quivering in my boots. Made them stop staring at me. Now everyone knows. Was standing on the sidewalk finishing a cigarette outside the Dollar Tree. I had about half left, so instead of putting it out, I stood there and finished it. This is at a strip mall, a bunch of stores in a row. So these folks, family of 4, manifest and begin down the sidewalk. All 4 staring right at me, hard eye contact. Mom, dad, both children dead-eyed, looking typical obese southern family, walking with mouths open, just fixated. I turn around to see if maybe they were looking at someone else or something behind me. Nothing. Nobody behind me. I'm like, WTF? They gazed for probably 10 seconds or so, and it just really rubbed me the wrong way, so when they were about 20-ish feet away, I stuck out my tongue and put my cigarette out. Just mashed the cherry straight in my tongue. I just stared hard at them. I looked into all 8 of their eyes simultaneously. How? They all just looked away. Altogether it was great. As they passed, it was completely silent. I just can't stand a bunch of MFers staring at me. Like, is all of that detail really necessary? It's like they were writing this for the most cool points possible, for the most Reddit karma, which ironically is kind of the opposite of cool points. And this next one's titled, "And Then the Man Wore a Turtleneck and Everyone Clapped for My Mom's Unbelievable Yet Totally True Feat of Superhuman Strength." My mom once lifted someone we know off the ground with one hand, his feet literally dangling in the air. This happened in 1996. She was 24 years old, around 5'7", and 145 pounds, while he was 41, about 5'9", and 185. She worked out a lot back then and had muscles. She put him back down on the ground too with one hand. When she lifted him, she didn't even look at him and just reached her hand out and lifted him up by his neck. His bruises were so bad he had to wear a turtleneck to cover them. He told someone him and my mom knew that they were from an animal attack when the lady asked him what happened. And who his camera head says it's true. You can tell they're telling the truth because this happened in 1996 before lying was invented. Also, everyone was superhuman. The downfall of the superhuman race needs to be studied for generations. And now a girl says she got harassed by a lesbian sorority. When I was in college, I made the mistake of joining a sorority. Basically, every girl there hit on me. My roommate kept asking me out, and whenever I'd refuse, she'd just say she would turn me lesbian and that I didn't know what I was missing. I went to tell the president what was going on, and she just laughed it off, telling me it was no big deal. A girl heard what happened and wrote straight on my door with a black Sharpie. I completely lost it and left the sorority, went to court to sue them, and got back the money for housing. I talked all about my experience in detail, and when we finally won the case because I had a good lawyer, the whole jury gave me applause. You of course had to throw in the applause in there. Surprised it wasn't a full-on standing ovation. Oh, we have a handwritten one from a camping trip neighbor. Bro, I camped in the spot behind you last night. Let me just say you are killing it as a dad. First off, I watched your wife guide you in as you backed up your trailer and nailed it on the first try without any yelling. Then your kids unloaded from the truck and were mild-mannered and well-behaved. You told stories around the campfire and I had the pleasure of listening to the sounds of giggles and laughter. From one dad to another, you are killing it. Keep it up. P.S. Whatever you cooked for dinner smelled delicious. Just gotta throw that in there. Even if this really happened, why are you watching other people this much? Doesn't that seem a little strange? For this next one, a random Reddit commenter just went from being homeless to being a millionaire. No big deal. Better late than never. Besides, if your parents really aren't being helpful, you can go your own way at 18. No need to wait until 25 or 30. For what it's worth, I went from homeless at 38 to a millionaire at 45. Starting late doesn't mean your whole life is ruined, and the bootstrap BS is legit. Not really, as I'll talk about a little later. Even you yourself still called it BS, so... And the response, your story is either complete BS or, if true, 100% pure luck. Thanks for proving my point. No one goes from homeless to a millionaire within just 7 years, especially not from 38 to 45. And if by some miracle you really did, then you are the best example that luck is everything. Yeah, you have to be extremely lucky, because that is nowhere near what typically happens. We go to the YouTube comments, commented on a video called Most Disturbing Real Stalker Encounters Volume 1. The fact that there are multiple volumes disturbs me. The comment says, at 14-15, this happened to me once and I just paid for both of us and told him my father was watching us. He didn't approve him and would kill him if he keeps bothering me. Then he kept bothering me for a couple days, so I paid some guys to hit the out of him and set fire to his car and house. Dude didn't even call the police. That's how shady he was. And the reply? Okay, sounds like a reasonable reaction. r/ThatHappened on YouTube, r/I have Reddit. I say as I'm also on YouTube saying that. But going back to that unbelievable story, there are two options here. Either one, you are making this up for attention, or two, you are casually admitting to crimes in the YouTube comments. Either way, it's not looking good for you. And now we have an inspiring encounter with a grocery bagger. I am here scratching my head wondering how in the world that could ever be inspiring, but we gotta read to find out. The teenager bagging groceries today asked if I wanted my bread on top. I said yes. He nodded seriously and said, good call. Structural integrity is everything. Why would he ever say something like that? That kid's probably not getting paid anywhere near enough to worry about the structural integrity of people's bags. Then he arranged my bags like he was building a cathedral. His coworker laughed at him, but my bread arrived home unpunched, my tomatoes unbrushed. Unbrushed? Did you mean unbruised? Like, what is brushing gonna do to a tomato? Sometimes the people who care too much about small things are exactly who we need. This next one claims to call everyone out on their BS, including the CEO. It has gotten me very far in my career. The CEO has publicly admitted that he is afraid of me and my abilities. Once a higher up tried to write me up and I signed it kiss my ass, then winked at them and blew a kiss. It got me promoted. I support this message. Trophy emoji. I support this message. What are you, a politician? There is no way the CEO is afraid of you, some random employee, to the point where they're giving you promotions out of fear? What? And for this next one, all the cashiers applauded their feat of impossibility. Incredible stuff. Haven't eaten at McDonald's in years, pulled all 4 railroads in a week. For those of you who are confused and wondering what the hell do railroads mean in this context, part of the Monopoly game McDonald's has, at least in America. I'm not sure about other countries. You basically have to collect these stickers which represent properties, and if you can collect all of a certain color, or type in the case of railroads, you get a prize. Or at least that's how it's supposed to work. This Reddit storyteller says, "So my friend and I decided to randomly hit McDonald's for breakfast this week after not eating there for literal years. We've been going every morning and somehow we ended up getting all 4 railroads from the same McDonald's location. We're still in shock. They're verifying the pieces right now, but if it checks out, Tokyo, here we come." Edit. I know a lot of people doubt these wins are legit, and honestly, I don't totally trust McDonald's to follow through either, especially with the history around the Monopoly scandal, so I'm trying not to get my hopes too high until I see actual confirmation. No proof until it's real, so are you admitting it's fake? Because I don't want to jinx it or leak personal info. What personal info are you gonna get from McDonald's Monopoly tiles, dude? You could just censor out the codes and post a picture. Anyway, if this actually happens, I'll come back with pics of the trip, itinerary, and what the whole process was like. Until then, I'm just as skeptical as a lot of you, but crossing my fingers they don't pull anything shady. By the way, the edit was made after a bunch of people called them out, so yeah, nice try. This next person is known for posting cringe on Facebook. A lot of people are. This cringe just so happens to also be fake AF. Women have no control over their behavior anymore. I went to a steakhouse. A woman literally left the man she was with and came right up to me. The man walked up to me, said I have no chance against you, and left the restaurant. I talked to both the man and the woman. They were from Las Vegas, of course. I said no to the woman. I just want to enjoy my dinner and go home. I thought by going to a rich place I can avoid the chaos. Apparently not in downtown Orlando. Oh wow, the dude was just irresistible. Miladies were just throwing themselves at him. Other men just couldn't compete. You couldn't write a less realistic story if you tried. And now a woman at the airport thought I was her personal chauffeur. I was at the airport waiting to pick up my cousin. I had on a black jacket and was holding my phone just standing near the arrivals exit. A woman in her 50s storms up to me, drags her suitcase in front of me and says, "Finally, you're late. Take this to my car." I tell her I don't work here. She waves her hand at me like I'm being dramatic and snaps, "Of course you do. You're dressed like a driver." She starts trying to hand me her luggage handle. I repeat that I'm not her chauffeur. She actually looks around like she's about to complain to my manager. At this point, my cousin comes through the gate and shouts my name. The woman freezes and then tries to save face by saying she was just testing my professionalism. My cousin and I laughed the whole way to the parking lot. Dude basically threw every Karen stereotype in this story. So she was adamant this person was her driver, despite not holding onto a piece of paper/card with her name on it, and insisted on giving them their luggage. And of course she froze when she learned the truth, because any reaction has to be the most dramatic one possible. I think this is another case of an over-embellished story. There probably was a woman who approached them, mistakenly thought they were the driver, and then just said sorry and moved on. But you know, it's just not dramatic enough for upvotes. This next person claims LinkedIn is the worst social media site to ever be created. Good lord, has it gotten that bad? I saw a family of 5 at a restaurant do something I'll never forget. When the waiter came over, their 6-year-old son spoke up. "Hello, Mark, my name is Ben. I'll be ordering for the table." And then calmly and clearly, "My mom will have the steak medium rare with a side of spinach. She doesn't want a potato. My dad will have, my sister will have, and I'll have." It was amazing to watch. Not just because he got the order right, but because of what was really happening. That little boy wasn't just ordering dinner, he was practicing confidence, eye contact, politeness, clarity, the courage to speak up in a room full of strangers. And his parents weren't just eating out, they were giving him a safe stage to build communication skills he'll use his whole life. What a simple, brilliant way to teach presence and confidence at the table, long before he ever has to do it in a boardroom. Because at the end of the day, LinkedIn is all about learning corporate lessons from the fakest stories you could ever imagine. And now we have ourselves a lucky millionaire. I deposited a 5-figure check at a major bank. When I went to withdraw it days later, I found out 2 extra zeros were added. The bank realized their mistake about 30 days later and sent me a demand letter wanting the money back, but I had already spent it on a condo, shopping spree, and trips. My attorney said it was their fault and they cannot legally prosecute me. The threatening letters stopped coming after 3 months. It's been over a year, crying laughing emoji. Now I'm no lawyer, but I'm pretty sure they can come after you for that. Like, they're not just gonna let you keep all that money. Like, this isn't Monopoly. You can't just be like, "Oh, bank error in your favor, collect $200. For this next one, a famous actor shares a kiss with a co-star. I'm an actor that's been in a few shows. One is kinda popular, and there was a kissing scene where we had to kiss passionately, and she was a bit newer and had only done one kissing scene before. I told her to just relax and pretend like we're in love. We had to do multiple takes, and on the last one, for some reason, I was really into it. Not like kissing hard or crazy, but something inside of me felt really connected to her. I kissed her so sweetly and eagerly, the way I held her face and looked in her eyes before kissing again. I stopped like we were supposed to, but she just said, "Don't stop, please," as we were still so close. So I just kissed her more and I really forgot about acting. Like in the moment, it was truly just me and her. After a few more seconds, we did stop and smiled at each other. The director clapped, yes, the obligatory applause, and said that was spectacular, lol. Me and her ended up effing in her trailer after. That last part is just like really abrupt, like there was all of this passionate kissing, this connection, and then just threw in the, "Oh yeah, I got laid, by the way." No, you did not. This next one at least admits he's an online storyteller. Hey, it doesn't say the stories have to be true, they could all be fiction. I got an offer, $140K in remote work. I resigned after the first hour. The next hour, the company came back with 180, a different role, whatever you want. But money wasn't the issue. What I saw in that first hour was a team paralyzed by fear. Fear of getting fired. Fear of saying the wrong thing. Fear of making a mistake. I don't care if it's 140K or 1.4 million. I would rather die than live in fear. The only thing this man fears is fear itself. And as we all know, courage is what really pays the bills. And for this next one, this definitely happened. I once lent a very close friend $8,000 when my annual salary was $32,000. He kept giving me the runaround, so I finally went to his boss's boss and told him how I was in a stuck situation. That close friend was about to get a $5,000 bonus, and his boss's boss made sure that I got the entire bonus and $500 from every subsequent paycheck till I was made whole. We don't talk anymore. Ah yes, the boss's boss just believed your every word and started withholding funds from a person's paycheck, which I'm pretty sure requires some sort of court, and that court is gonna ask for a lot more than just your word. This next one claims my boss tried to unalive me, which by the way, you do not have to say unalive on Reddit. Long story short, I found out about the shady side business him and my colleagues were up to and shut me up. They tried to kill me and make it look like an accident. A construction site accident spelled S-I-G-H-T like seeing. Fast forward a year later and they got cuffed up and I'm still recovering from the disability they caused. Lawsuit incoming, rage persisting. May all the bad bosses be blessed with hemorrhoids. A very specific curse to cast on every bad boss in the land. And this last one got their assault charges dropped. I got an assault charge in middle school as a minor because I would spray people with perfume who smelt bad around me. I got the charges dropped by saying they assaulted my nose first, with their stink, crying laughing emojis, 3 of them. Never been in trouble since. You know, I can smell this post from here, which is probably my signal to stop. So, I'd like to thank all of my members, especially Catalin Cormendi, Amethyst Phoenix, Mike Hawk, Hold Up, and Taylor Wheatley. You can join simply by clicking the join button below. Feel free to like, subscribe, and hit the little notification bell if you enjoyed it, and feel free to comment if you've got something on your mind.